How's it, guys? My name is Dubz and welcome back to another episode. Now today I've got a very special car for you. I've got the RS3 from Audi. Now what's the first thought when you think RS3? Is it the exterior? Is it the sound? Or is it the performance? Well, I'll tell you what my first thought is. Listen to this. Okay, enough of that. My name is Dubz. Let's get into the review. Before we get into this review, I just want to give a big shout out to Talk Auto Group for lending us this car. Now this car is in Nardo Grey, but before I tell you about all the specifics about this particular car, this car is available on sale from Talk Auto. So we'll put all the details on their page. Just go check out their page and you'll find out everything you need to know about it. Before I get into this review, I'm going to tell you how simple it is to actually review this car. I ever talk about this car, so I'm going to bring someone on up here. Trust me, I didn't update them in on anything, I didn't fill them in, they're not prepped. They're just going to do an impromptu review of just how good looking this car is. So here it is. I'm going to bring him on, but I'll let him tell you more about himself. So the man himself, Aadil, or better known as Gotti. How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So you're going to be telling us about the RS3 today.
Yes.
Now I know I put you on the spot, but I just want to let the viewers know how simple. Because I mean, this car it's good looking.
It's
beautiful. It doesn't stand out. It's not in your face.
No.
But then again, that's what makes the RS3 so special.
Exactly.
So what can you tell me about this car?
Well, straight up looking at it, you can obviously see it's fit for a family. I mean, it's a four-door. It's a four-door sedan. It's got enough trunk storage. The color is beautiful. It's got amazing headlights, and yeah, it's really quick. And it's a 7-speed auto. I really enjoyed. I actually drove not too long ago. Well, quite actually long ago. A few friends actually let me drive one of the RS3s. I think it was a 2016.
Yeah.
And brilliant. Like just shifting in general. I didn't push the car because it was obviously on my car, but brilliant. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. He had the hatch. This is the sedan, of course, and this is the facelifted version. I'm sure that the interior is a lot more comfortable because they've obviously updated it since 2 years, of course. Well, this is a 2017,
This is a 2017,
right?
so it was the facelift of the 2016 version.
So just a year later, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year later, and then you get the sedan, and yeah, what a brilliant car. Really quick, and what is it? What's that? 0 to 100?
4.1 seconds.
4.1 seconds, 0 to 100.
Seconds.
Really quick. This car is just stunning, and
there's not much. It's not much of a difference between this and the current 2021.
Yeah.
In terms of looks as well. I mean, obviously there are those finer details, but I mean, from a distance, at first glance, you'd probably say this is actually a 2020 version. Is it at least?
Is it 2021 or 2022 that's out right now?
Well, the 2022 has been revealed for next year, but it's not on sale yet.
It's not on sale yet.
Yes, but it has been revealed. It's just not out yet.
And what do you think about the 2022?
Oh, well, I don't want to take away the spotlight from this, so let's get back into this, and then back to the review. Now the side profile looks really good. I mean, you get aggressive body kits on the side along with power folding mirrors. You also get 19-inch alloy wheels, which actually come as standard fitted on the RS3. That's accompanied with red brake calipers and, watch this, real air vents that actually feed air through here to cool the brakes in the front. Now you also get big air vents over here to cool the engine, new lights on this facelifted version, and the grille has also received a facelift. Now if you notice with this, the Quattro sign is no longer on the grille here in the front. It's actually placed over here, which I think looks really good. Speaking of Quattro, let's move over to what really makes this RS3 work. Now, that is all thanks to the 5-cylinder 2.5 litre TFSI engine that produces 294 kilowatts and 480 Newton meters of torque. Now, that's roughly about 400 horsepower and produces a staggering 0 to 100 time of 4.1 seconds. This thing is fast, and no wonder it's referred to as the king of hot hatches. I know there's a sedan version, but you get what I mean. Now, important things to note is that this car, this particular 2017 model, has 28 more kilowatts compared to its outgoing 2016 version and about 18 Newton meters of torque more. So you do get, a bit of value for your money. Moving right along. here's a bit of information. Now, if you don't know what Quattro actually stands for, Quattro means that this car has or is operated via a 4-wheel drive system. That means all the power is sent to all 4 wheels thanks to a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Now, this system cannot be decoupled, meaning it will never be rear wheel drive biased. So if you're thinking of doing drifts or anything in this particular car, sorry, Audi doesn't allow it. Moving on to my favorite part about this car, the rear end. Now, the rear end gets new LED tail lights, a rear bootlit spoiler, RS3 badging on the side, and obviously aggressive bumpers, big rear diffuser which diffuses air, which improves performance or driving performance, and my favorite, the 2 big round or oval exhaust pipes, which are an optional extra for this particular car, obviously on the RS model. It's not a tune, it's still extra from Audi, but Audi makes you pay for it for whatever reason. But trust me, it is worth every single penny. Now, moving on to practicality, this has 315 liters of boot space and 770 liters with the seats down. In contrast, the hatchback version has 335 liters and over 1,000 liters with the seats down. Now, I'm seated inside the RS3 and let me be honest, it is super comfortable. I mean, I've actually forgotten that I'm in the RS version unless I obviously have a look at the sports dials on the driver's display system. But just to talk about the steering wheel, it's got a really nice feel to it. What I like about Audis is that their steering wheels are a lot thinner, so you can actually grip it and it gives you that sportier feel, like you actually feel like you're in control, whereas BMW steering wheels are a little bit more thick, and you know, obviously if you've got small hands you may struggle a bit. Obviously you get some Alcantara on the steering wheel, multifunctional buttons which actually control either the infotainment screen or the driver's display screen over there. Now obviously you can change things like your views here in the front, which as you see in the cutaways, you have your sat nav on the actual driver's display system instead of having to look there. So I think that's a really important feature which drivers would really like. And obviously if you continue going, you get obviously your sports display system, and you can also view things like your boost, torque, and every other complicated feature which, you know, sports drivers or performance drivers really like to see. And obviously you also get your pedal shifts on the steering wheel, which are really good and really responsive, but we'll get onto that in the driving review. Moving on to the display screen on the center console, you get, well, it's pretty small compared to the newer versions, but it does the job. You can still view things like your sat nav, and if you press on the menu you get your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can do things like your media, Bluetooth. It's really packed with tech. And obviously if you want your maps there, you can get your maps. And moving on here, you have some more controls over there which are really easy to use. Now I like that Audi's kept, or at least on this particular version, it has the traditional buttons. So like you have your drive select here, comfort, auto, dynamic, individual. You have your climate controls over here, your air conditioner, everything is really practical. It's really easy to use, and it's not complicated. Anybody can figure out how to do this, You'll have to play around a bit, but eventually you get it. And then obviously moving over here, you have more Alcantara on the gear stick, and obviously you have all your functions over there. You have a swivel wheel, which is really important, especially when you're driving, instead of having that touchpad, which can get a bit fiddly. Otherwise this works really well. Now in terms of storage, you have a little storage space over here, which some USB charging compartment and an aux cable over there. You also have more storage obviously in the door bins here. It's not the biggest, to be honest, and more features over here on the door, but everything is really practical. I know Mercedes really has a lot going on here in the doors, and it can be very confusing and sometimes overwhelming, but Audi really keeps it practical, simple, but value for money. It's classy, you get value for money, and it just really reminds you that cars are not meant to be complicated. It's supposed to be practical and easy to live with on a daily basis. You also get cup holders over here in the front. You get 2 cup holders, more storage space over here, not the biggest, but obviously you have your like SIM and SD cards over there, which is really interesting. Now your CD player is also over there, so you have to open that up, and it's really safe because then you'll never lose your CDs. Put that in there. In terms of infotainment, or the sound rather, you have a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which really bangs. It's in the name, Bang & Olufsen. Up here you have the panoramic sunroof with the cover, so once the sun gets a bit too much, you can just pull that over, cover it, and it's also very, very easy to use. With the leather seats, now these are Napa leather seats with the RS Sports performance seats, and they are really, really good. Now obviously these are heated. I don't know if they're cooled, but I think they are heated and cooled. And obviously you get some RS badging over there, and they really tuck you in. You feel really, really comfortable. Now it's important to note that they're not hard. A lot of sports seats are really, really hard, and you feel like, oh, you can't even bounce like that. But this is really comfortable. I mean, if I didn't know that I was an RS3, I wouldn't say, obviously, besides the RS badging behind me, but it's really, really comfortable. Way to go, Audi, way to go. I love the interior. I do. Really, really practical and simple. I may have forgotten to mention that you also get some RS badging on the steering wheel, which just gives you that feel or that reminder that you're in a premium performance sedan. Obviously being an RS3, and whether you prefer the hot hatch or the sedan, it's all the same thing really, because what really, really matters is what's under the bonnet. Okay, now we're going to take a closer look at the driver's display system. And obviously this is the key now that you use to start the car. So you just pop it open, put it in there, put your foot on the brake all the way down. Okay, and oof, that sounds great. By the way, this is in comfort. Let me just make sure of that. That's an individual, sorry. So obviously in comfort. Now here's what happens. You get 3 or 4, actually 3 but 4 driving modes. So the first one, or what Audi calls drive select rather. So the first one is auto. If you look there, so you have comfort, auto, dynamic. Now have a listen to this. As soon as I go into dynamic, it actually opens up the valves because that's its sportiest setting. So I'll go dynamic. You hear the valves open up immediately. It's almost instant. And then you have individual. Now individual allows you to set up, like you can toggle with the suspension, the valves, whether you want them on or off, you know, comfort levels, everything. It just lets you be more in control, because then if you know, it gets you quicker to how you want to drive the car on a daily basis, or experience the car on a daily basis. Now I'm going to show you how it revs on the different modes. So this is comfort, and then I'm going to rev it up in comfort. So this is what it sounds like when you actually just go into the shop and back with the valves off. There's no pops, really, really basic. But if I change the view here, you can actually see the rev counts here. So you go that, it'll stop at about 3,500 revs, almost 4,000 revs, because obviously it has a soft limiter, which one of the things I don't really like about Audi. But look at this. If you put it into dynamic, you heard those valves open. Now listen to this. Sounds really, really good. Now as you notice, you hear those power and torque signs over there. So as you're revving, it shows you how much power you're actually using, which is obviously more effective when you're actually driving. And that goes for the torque there as well. So all those 480 newton meters of torque, you see all of that, and how, you know, it distributes the torque over the different driving modes. And obviously you also get your boost there. Yeah, otherwise I think it's really, really good. Obviously you still have more, obviously, to change your view there if you want to see that. That's your nav there. And if I go into the menu here and I put it in maps, and you press over there, there you go, you get your maps over there, and you can just change the different views and stuff, and you know, fuel, change the different settings. But yeah, I think on a normal daily basis you'd probably drive in this view anyway, which sort of gives you the best of both worlds. Okay, moving on to the back. Again, rear seats also very, very comfortable. Leg room, it's a little bit tight, I'll be honest, a little bit tight, but you know, you manage nonetheless. Headroom is also pretty decent. Obviously I'm not the tallest guy, but probably taller guys will probably struggle, but hey, you know, that's the reality of it. Yeah, otherwise what I really, really don't like is the view from the back. Now obviously, because the seats are so wide, and obviously and for the front, and which are really, really comfortable for the driver, that comes with a bit of compromise for the rear view passengers. Now I can't see a thing in front of me because the seats are so wide at the back. I can't see anything, and yeah, if you want to see the front where we're going, obviously this is a performance vehicle, so once you start getting high speeds and you start getting excited, you may want to look, but then that means if you have a third passenger seated here, you're going to be looking over his shoulder the whole time. And yes, sitting in the middle, no, it's a no-no. Yes, it's doable for like kids and whatever, but for adults, no, it's not very practical. But then again, you know, this car, if you have 4 people in, or even 5, you know, for a short while, it'll work. But here with these seats, with these kind of seats, it's really, really, really tricky. Otherwise, it's still a good car nonetheless. Now, does it have anything here at the back? Oh no, it doesn't. What is Audi doing? You need that armrest. We need that armrest, especially in the RS3. You need an RS car, and for the money you're paying for, it's a really, really important feature. Otherwise, it's really, really good. I still like it in here, and you obviously get more stitching at the back. So these rear seats are almost identical to the ones in the front. So we're off for the drive review now. I'm just going to take you through a few of the things that are really important to note about this car. First impressions on comfort. Yes, the engine does idle a lot lower as opposed to dynamic. While we stop here to talk about the engine idles a lot lower. It's also important to note that this car just can't shut up. Let me just put it that way. This car cannot shut up. I mean, of course it's an RS3 and it's gonna be loud. You can go now, it's safe to do so. Yeah, I mean, we're driving on comfort now. I mean, I can hear it from the inside, but I mean, I guess it tries, you know, it really tries, but you can't keep it quiet. You know, it's an RS3, it's a performance vehicle. You don't buy this car to keep it quiet. It's like buying a pit bull and then locking it up in like that, like in a dog, in that small little dog house. I mean, it's why would you want to do that? You know, this is not meant for that. This is meant to be alive. It's got a personality. It should come out to play. Which RS3 is for. And I mean, you look at the market. Obviously, the market that the RS3 sort of attracts. It's young individuals. You know, there's not a lot of old people who drive this car. You know, mid-20s, maybe 30s. But I mean, you're in at that stage, you start settling down. You know, and you settle for something else, maybe like an RS4 or an RS6. But this has a personality to it. It's young. It's vibrant. I mean, we're going over bumps now. For an RS car that sports the suspension is really, really good. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's really good. It's really comfortable. It soaks up the bumps. Yeah, I mean, it's livable, and I guess that's why you find so many of these on the road. It's livable, and you can live with it. I mean, yeah, I love it. And obviously, when you want it to be a lunatic, of which we'll test out now after this bump, it goes, but it's not crazy. I mean, you're in comfort, and it really does well, you know, in terms of operating between the different drive modes, and how, again, over a bump is really, really, it's quiet, it's comfortable. I mean, besides the engine noise, I've forgotten that I'm in an RS3. You just feel like I'm just in another car that's got a sports exhaust system. Really, I love it. It's really, really comfortable. But where it really, really matters the most is when you shift it from drive, or should I say comfort, to, obviously if you press there, to dynamic. Now the car is in its sportier settings. We're going to take a left turn here. Now as the car is in its sportier setting, and I'm going to put my foot down. Instant. Now the personality comes out. Now the car wants to play, you know. Now it's not as shy as it was, you know, in comfort. Not that it's shy, but it quietens down. It really, really just does a good job at being normal. And then, of course, when you want it to be, it can be a lunatic. Okay, it's not my turn yet. Okay, now it's my turn. I'm gonna take a left over here. Start driving. And around turns, this thing is really, that Quattro system really, really keeps it in line. I mean, the way and the manner in which it handles, it keeps you alert. You know, you don't have to do much. The car does it all for you. You can be a bit reckless. I know it's not recommended, but you know, honestly, people buy these cars because they've got a personality to it, and obviously you're gonna play around with it from time to time. And like I said, this is really, really, really good. I mean, we're gonna go now from takeoff. Go. That sound is insane. I mean, it's insane. It's an RS. You don't get it from any. Oh, look at that. Those downshifts. And I'm not even. This is auto, by the way. Okay, it's not our turn yet. And again, we're driving around the city. You know, it's really practical. You don't feel like you're in a sports car or a supercar. Like, obviously, you attract a lot of attention, but it's only because of the noise. It's really, really just because of the noise and the beautiful sound that it makes. You know, you get people looking at you, yes, sure, but it's not because you're misbehaving, if that's even a thing. It's because the car just sounds great. You know, you're not being reckless or anything. You're just really, really taking it in. And I'll be honest with you, I get why it's maybe referred to as the king of hot hatches, because it simply is. It lives up to that status. And we're going to try the launch control now pretty soon before we go into it. But let me just keep driving. And now I'm going to shift using the pedal shifts there. So I'm just going to take that aside, click. Not very responsive, but it does the job nonetheless. And it really, really does a good job. I mean, right now we're in 4, downshift. Again, really, really responsive, and I think it's the downshifts. People like this for the downshifts. I mean, how many times have you been across town and you hear people doing this? Listen to this. Audi's done a really incredible job with this. And I mean, you think they're only making these better, you know, or they're trying to, but you think to yourself, this is a 2017, 2018 version. There's not that much of a difference between the two cars, but my word, what a brilliant job. What a pleasure. Really, what a pleasure this thing is to drive. And you can never get enough of it. Really. You can never. And you just want it to play, you know, you just want it to come out, you just want it to express itself. I thoroughly enjoyed this car. And you know, I'm gonna go back to comfort now because it's using drive, and let's be normal, let's be so brilliant. And again, we're back to reality, where you're just going to work or to the office and back around town. You just want to be normal. You've had a long day, you just want to relax. The suspension softens up, takes in the bumps. Engine also acts a little bit lower because the valves obviously close. Now it's normal. Okay, so we're gonna do the final test, which is the launch, just to see how good it really, really is. So to launch the car is simple. Put the car into its dynamic setting. Engine starts running louder. You press and hold the traction control button, or stability control rather. Hold it. It should hook on about now. Traction control off. Put your foot on the brakes. Let's just wait for a sign from our guys up front. Brake. Oops. That was awesome. Perfect. That's it. And it hooks. My name is Dubz. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, I gotta take this car back, so see ya.